welcome to another wonderful episode of Breathing Exercises for Health, Vitality, and Creativity. I am your host, Breathin' Heathen. I'm here in the Jess FM studio, which is also Jess TV, and if you look up Roku on the SSH 101, you can find Jess TV. I absolutely recommend it, not just for this show, but also for all of the incredible shows that take place on this network. I'm talking about You Asked For It. I'm talking about 1,000 Ways with Alan Friesen. I'm talking about Connected with Carrie. There are so many good shows. Something about dads the other day. There was this really good Jess FM show about dads the other day that I tuned into and quite enjoyed. So if you're just coming here to get some breathing exercises, that is fine. That is good. But I would like to recommend checking out all of what Jess TV has to offer, because it's definitely a diverse group of people. And I am very thankful to Jesse Parmar for allowing me to share this gift of breath with all of you. Today's breath is bellows breath. And you might know a little bit about bellows breath. You might know a little bit about it from watching movies, or even if you've ever been to Lamaze class, if you've ever watched a movie or a TV show where there's pregnancy preparation, you see this thing called bellows. Well, they don't call it bellows breath, but it's very distinct because the person breathing has this forceful breathing. It goes like, and I would be surprised if the audience of this show that's been tuning in since the beginning hasn't at least once wondered, when is Breathin' Heathen going to bring out the forceful breathing that I see on Lamaze? So there's a reason I haven't brought it out until now, and that very, very good reason is that, to me, it makes more sense to teach a bellows breath after you've gone from deep breathing to muscular breathing. And we talked about this a little bit on the last episode, how we began perhaps with shallow breathing, and then through full yogic breath did deep breathing, through Nadi Shodhana did balancing, and now we have the opportunity to do muscular breathing. On the last episode, if you didn't catch it, which is fine, go back, take a look. Take a look at the last episode again. On the last episode, we did a special kind of breathing that I call breath of fire. Standardly, it's known as Agnisara, which really just means fire breathing. And of course, you're not breathing any fire. You're breathing into your digestive system. Your digestive system uses your breath and your muscles during Agnisara to help the process of digestion. And that's the fire. It's the fire in your belly. That was a muscular breath. And today's breath, bellows breath, is also a muscular breath. So if you were to chart it out on a Maslow's hierarchy of needs kind of thing going on, I don't know how you choose to look at it. If it were a graph, the graph would start down here with shallow breathing, and perhaps everybody on earth who does shallow breathing. And then it would continue up the pyramid with deep breathing and the people who endeavor to do deep breathing. And then probably here at the top, you get to a point where you're doing muscular breathing, where you're making full use of the muscles, the internal muscles and musculature that you have at your disposal to aid in your breathing exercises. The more that you do it, the more you can do it. It's like any other muscle training. It's like push-ups or sit-ups or chin-ups, that kind of thing. This is also where potentially I get in a little bit of trouble, and I'd like to make something crystal clear before we begin this exercise. Back when I finished my pranayama intensive after 4 years since my basic pranayama level 1, I went through 4 years of visiting all kinds of places in the world, meditation village, ashrams, and temples to learn about meditation and breathing. And finally, I ended up in Rishikesh, India to learn intensive pranayama. And in that entire time, I had never experienced a breath that caused someone to breathe violently through their mouth with the intent of hyperventilating. I had never experienced that. I'd never seen it practiced in any of the temples or ashrams that I'd gone to. Not once had I seen it. Not once had it been taught to me. As soon as I came back to Canada, I got really excited to find out what yoga teachers were doing with breath and breathing and pranayama. I ended up in a yoga studio and I'd brought a couple friends because I was excited to share. We sat around this pranayama teacher who said, okay, everybody watch me do it, and then we'll have all of you do it. And he took a deep breath in, and he started forcefully breathing through his mouth until he was absolutely red in his face, his veins bulging and blistering out, this wild open eyes, and then he threw himself to the ground. And that forced air and that forced mouth breathing gave him, I guess, some kind of body high. It made him real high. And if you've, I don't know, I guess if you've never had a spiritual experience, it's easy to confuse a body high with a spiritual experience because it definitely feels like an out-of-body experience. Your body probably wants to get you out of its body so it can restore itself to balance. But it's a little like flooding your engine with gasoline, right? A little bit, but too much is, whew, man. And I was trying to think in all of my experiences if I had ever seen that in another yoga studio, an ashram, or a temple. I hadn't seen it. And I remembered back to my own childhood and recalled that I had actually seen it in grade 7 with my friends who had found out how to knock their lights out with breathing and thought it was really funny and really a gas. It is not something that I would recommend. It is not something that I teach, and it is not something that I practice. Owned breathing exercises are meant to expand the breath and enrich your life. They're meant to fill your body with breath and restore balance to your energy and to your physical self so that you can think clearly and do amazing things in this world. And I can think of no greater miracle than that. I can think of no greater a spiritual experience than that, than being able to feed your spirit with breath. So I guess the moral of this story, if there is a moral, forceful breath has a lot of various interpretations. And I'm not putting down the works of others. Anyone is free to teach breathing as they want to. However, it's been my experience that using breath to restore balance to the body is far superior and far more enriching a practice than using breath to push yourself over the edge and get a little buzz. The other thing I'd like to mention too is breathing teachers who claim that owned breathing or just pranayama or breathing in general cures cancer and gives you superhuman strength and abilities. I will not make such a claim. I definitely believe that good breathing brings strength, good posture, good energy, good rooting, good grounding, and this can lead to a more healthy and active lifestyle. But I would never advertise it as a cure for cancer. And there have actually been cases brought to the surface, brought to the news media. You can look on the internet and find out about people who decided to use a complementary therapy instead of seeking medical advice from professionals. And there have been cases where these people died while using complementary therapy instead of consulting a doctor. I will never recommend this. I feel that anybody who puts their practices out there, their breathing practices, as a cure for cancer or a cure for other terminal illness or a way to gain superhuman, supernatural strength or the like, probably does not care so much for the well-being of the people who are receiving their messages. It is more likely they care about their own financial well-being. I know personally from sitting in a hospital waiting room with a relative in the hospital with a terminal illness, I know that I would do anything to help my relative live longer. And more to the point, I would pay anything. And I feel that there are people in complementary therapy who are well aware of this and smell the money and will actually give their advice, not from the standpoint of a medical professional, but from the standpoint of somebody who's caught a trend and wants to make some cash. I do not believe in this. I do not support this, and I do not practice this. So when you come here and watch these breathing practices, I want you to feel confident and feel assured that if it came right down to it, I will always side with the perspective that medical advice is very important, that medical doctors have studied medicine for years and years and years. And no matter how well I know breathing practices, I cannot with good conscience prescribe a breathing exercise that will take the place of a life-saving medication or medical practice. Just remember to stay skeptical. So, with that out of the way and firmly entrenched in your mind, let's talk about the bellows breath. In the last episode, we did a breath that we had done before, which was the breath of fire. I taught you the first part of the breath of fire, which was to empty out all of the air in your lungs, empty it all out, and then take a breath in, hold, and suck in this power center. So that was the first way that I had taught it to you. The second way that I taught you the breath of fire was to empty out all the air from your lungs, take a breath in, suck in your power center, and then sort of move the muscles around in your stomach with what I like to call stomach pumping. Pump, 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 pump. So if you don't remember the stomach pumping, or if this is the first episode of owned breathing exercises that you're catching, don't worry, it's not too late. You can go back on your Jess TV, Jess FM, Roku dial, take a look at our previous episodes, study up, practice up, and meet me back here for a replay. But I want to go over the bellows breath with you today because this is a breath that I feel is very beneficial. It's near and dear to my heart. And it has been put out there as a breath that can actually work your muscles in a kind of a beach bod way. Because with the forceful breath, you're also starting to work on those abdominal muscles down there. So this could be both a breath and an asana, an exercise. This could be both. But unlike the Agnisara breath of fire last week that we did, this one this week is not known as a kriya or a cleansing. This one is known as a breath. There is no ambiguity. There is no controversy. There are no people jumping on to comment and say, hey, breathin' heathen, that's not a breath, that's a cleansing. No. This one, controversy-free, completely controversy-free, and completely fulfilling, whether you're in Lamaze or not. This is not a breath that you have to be pregnant to do at all, by any means whatsoever. But if you are going to use owned breathing exercises as a guide to breathing, I recommend, please, pretty please, do the Lamaze route first and study that and find out what that's all about, because I personally have never been pregnant. I do not plan on becoming pregnant. And I would like to give good advice, and that good advice is if you want to learn Lamaze, go to Lamaze class. This is not a substitute for that. So, without further ado, let's begin this breath. Start with your full yogic breath. Inhaling, making your belly nice and full, and then holding. And then exhaling, and making your body empty, and holding. Let's try this 2 more times. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Keep on doing that. And while you are doing that, I would like you to picture a bellows and what a bellows does. If you haven't used a bellows before, you know that when you have a fire, the best thing to keep that fire going is a little bit of air on the embers of the wood. So when you want to grow a fire, you have a device called a bellows, and you push the bellows together, and out of the spout, the end of the bellows, air will come out. You push the bellows together, the air comes out. And to use a bellows with a fire, you will have the two parts of the bellows, the two planks with the little tiny hose coming out, and that little tiny hose is pointed towards the embers of the logs in the fire, and you just push it, and the air blows into the embers, and that creates a bigger, better fire. And that is the metaphor that informs the name of the bellows breath. So while you're breathing this full yogic breath, I want you to just imagine what I've described, a bellows closing and blowing out the air, opening, sucking in the air, closing, blowing out the air, opening, sucking in the air. That's what the bellows does. And that's what we're going to do inside our bodies, just like a bellows. You see how that metaphor works? The bellows breath I will teach you today is called a 10 by 10. What 10 by 10 means is that when you take your deep breath and fill your body and then blow it all out, you're going to breathe in halfway. Just halfway. And then you're going to give 10 forceful breaths. And then get rid of the rest of the air. Breathe in half. And 10 more. And you'll do that 10 times. That forceful breath is accessible to almost anyone, but you may need to modify it. If you only want to do 5 sets of 10, if that's your capacity, then do that capacity. If you only want to do 5 sets of 5, if that's your capacity, then only do that capacity. How do you know it's your capacity? Because you'll be struggling for air if you go beyond that. And the point is not to struggle for air. Now, almost anyone can do that. I think 10 by 10, though, is a good starting point. And if you want to modify to expand it, you can do 20 by 20. But like I say, You don't need to push yourself. It's not a competition. And when you feel like you're struggling for air, you've gone a little too far. Now, if you've done what I suggested in past episodes, and if you've got that little teapot with the saline and the warm water, the warmth of a tear, otherwise known as Jalaneti, or if you've gone further than I've suggested and gotten the little silicone string thing that they sell for Sutra Neti, flossing your nostrils. If you've done that, then I imagine your breathing through your nostrils is incredible by now. If you've been doing that since I suggested it, I'll bet you don't breathe through your mouth anymore at all, because why would you need to? So if you've been doing that and you're not too worried about mucus, then we can do the forceful breath out of our nostrils. So that would sound like this, blowing out all your air. Breathing in half, and now through the nose. So you can do it that way if you're not worried about mucus. Or even if you are worried about mucus but you just don't care. That's fine too. So, right now, together, now that I've shown you the different ways you can do it, 10 by 10, forceful breathing out of the mouth, forceful breathing out of the nostrils, or 5 by 5 if your capacity is lower, 10 by 5, 5 by 10. Or if you're very zealous and maybe you've done this before, so you know what you're doing, go ahead beyond us and do 20 by 20. I think that should be fine. So let's do 10 by 10 together, starting with getting rid of all of the air from your lungs. Breathe half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Breathe the rest out. Breathe half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Get out the air. Breathe half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Breathe out the rest. Breathe half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Get out the air. Breathe half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Get out the rest. Breathe half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Get out the rest. Breathe half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Breathe out the rest. Breathe half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Breathe out the rest. Breathe half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Breathe out the rest. Breathe half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Breathe out the rest. Now take a nice, deep inhalation. And close your eyes. Close your eyes, relax. Close your eyes, relax. Shake out your fingers. Shake out your hands. Shake out your feet. Shake out your neck. Feels good. You've just worked hard. You've just done an amazing bellows breath. And the feeling that you have right now should not be the feeling of hyperventilation, as I took great care to mention before. If you feel that you've reached the end of your capacity, please stop. There is no yardstick here. Really, you can tune in and you don't even have to do breathing exercises at all. But from that ground level, there's any amount of breathing that you can do, that you can enjoy, that you can bring into your body and use in your life to enrich your life. Any amount is splendid. While your eyes are closed and you're breathing naturally, you're breathing calmly, you are reflecting and going inward, thinking about how that breath made you feel. Did it bring any emotions to the surface? Did you feel like it was too easy? Did you feel like you want more challenge? Or did you feel like it was too much challenge and that you were struggling a bit and you'd like to reduce for the next round? How does this breath make you feel? A funny side note. I was told once by a psychiatrist, a professional in the field, that I would gain great benefit by not accusing others of making me feel a certain way. That any time a thought came up that told me, oh, he makes me feel this way, or she makes me feel this way. One way to gain greater emotional freedom is to admit that nobody can make you feel anything. You choose, or rather you can choose, to feel one way or feel another. And with practice and with discipline, and perhaps with some breathing techniques, you can be in charge of what you feel. Isn't that a cool idea? Are you ready for the second round of bellows breath? Okay, you asked for it. Here we go. Take a nice deep breath. Imagining that bellows opening and closing, blowing air into the embers, and every time that air blows into the embers and the fire strengthens. The same thing is happening inside you as you do this bellows breath, muscular breathing. And as you do this forced air, this forced breathing, you are not hyperventilating yourself. You are not hurting yourself. You are not going beyond your capacity. But you are using your muscles to push air out of your body. Are we ready? Inhaling, nice deep breath, and getting rid of it. Inhale half your capacity, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Get rid of the rest. Breathe in half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Get rid of the rest. Inhale half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Get rid of the rest. Inhale half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Get rid of the rest. Inhale half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Get rid of the rest. Inhale half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Get rid of the rest. Inhale half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Exhale the rest. Inhale half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Exhale the rest. Inhale half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Exhale the rest. Inhale half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Exhale the rest. And take a nice, deep, natural breath. Close your eyes. Close them right closed. Close your eyes and breathe naturally. Breathe calmly. Breathe deeply and reflect. How was your 10 by 10 breathing for the second round? How did it assist the way you feel? How did it change the way you feel? How did it enrich the way you feel? Do you feel more energetic? Do you feel more calm? Do you feel warmth within? Or did it cool you down a bit? How did that breath affect your breathing, your mind, your body, your consciousness, and your grounding? Now that you've gotten the hang of it, I would like to bring in some information that we've studied before. to enrich this breath even more. You remember our 3 locks. You remember the several episodes, hopefully, that you've watched where I've talked about a lock called root lock, otherwise known by the name Mula Bandha. Bandha being a lock, Mula being the Muladhara, the root energy center, the chakra at the base of your spine. So you remember that, I hope. And I hope you are using Mula Bandha in all of your breathing exercises, because it is the one bandha that you can use with pretty much everything. You can do Mula Bandha pelvic floor lifting throughout your day, and it feels great. This is what I want to add to your breathing, and I would like you to feel that root lock as well as you can by lifting your pelvic floor. That is, by pulling up that area right at your root. On the male body, it is in between the anus and the scrotum, called the perineum. I want you to feel that lifting. As you're reflecting on your breath, how your body is feeling, I want you to take this moment to complete a 3rd series of 10 by 10 bellows breathing. Now that you've become a professional, we're going to keep that pelvic floor engaged. We are going to be lifting that pelvic floor with every forceful breath. And once you've connected that root lock, that Mula Bandha that we have talked about in past episodes, with today's bellows breath, then you will be able to reach the maximum feeling, the maximum enrichment and expansion of the bellows breath. And if this is something you choose to practice on a regular basis, you will feel the difference in your body and in your life. Seems simple, lifting the pelvic floor, but it's not simple. It takes practice. So practice, practice, practice. Here we go. Combining all of our past lessons, our heart-lifted posture, lifting our pelvic floor, and our final 10 by 10 bellows breath. Here we go. Take a breath in and release. Breathe half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Get rid of the rest. Breathe half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Get rid of the rest. Breathe half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, Get rid of the rest. Breathe half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Get rid of the rest. Breathe half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Get rid of the rest. Breathe half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Get rid of the rest. Breathe half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Get rid of the rest. Breathe half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Get rid of the rest. Breathe half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Get rid of the rest. Breathe half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Get rid of this. Do you have one more in you? Let's try another one. Breathe half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Get rid of the rest. Oh, take a nice deep breath. Lifting that heart. Feeling that pelvic floor lifted. Letting your eyes gently droop. Checking inward inside your body. Checking inwards, letting your eyes droop, letting your body center. This is the big one. This is perhaps the most difficult breath I'll get you to do in this little series of 9 episodes. In this season, let's call it. I would like to take this moment while you're relaxing and while you're finding your center and while you're finding your grounding. To give you some nice things to think about while you breathe naturally. So I'm not asking you to count your breaths. I'm not asking you to retain your breaths. I'm just asking you to go inward, close your eyes, and look at the screen within your mind, looking at that screen within your mind, reflecting on the breaths and how they made you feel, reflecting on your body and how your body feels, bringing your attention inward, imagining something on the screen inside your mind. It begins as a color, the color green, a vibrant, luscious, glowing green color on the screen in your mind. Only that color, a vibrant, youthful, energetic green like bright green grass. If you're colorblind, just imagine what it must look like, the brightness of grass. And now it takes shape, it takes form as a great big grass lawn in a forest clearing. On the screen in your mind, you are in the clearing in a forest, sitting on luscious green grass. Around you, there are trees, great, big, solid trees, interspersed with tiny sapling sticks sprouting from the ground. Around you fly gentle butterflies. Around you, birds chirp and sing. Around you is the atmosphere of the forest, dense, mossy. Around you, there is ground and wetness. There is life everywhere around you in this clearing. When you breathe in the air, it is fresh and crisp. As you breathe in the smell of the sap from the coniferous trees, breathe in the smell of the bark of the deciduous trees. So you breathe in that smell. You can feel it healing within. You can feel it filling your body with vitality. Vitality is life. Vitality is what is sometimes seen as the middle ground between tamas and rajas. Vitality means that you don't have overabundant energy, you don't have spastic energy, and at the same time you don't have slow, lethargic energy. Vitality is the energy in between, the energy that gives you the ability to cheerfully and happily do your tasks during the day. And this breath, combined with lifting the pelvic floor, combined with lifting the heart, combined with reflecting and going inwards in what we call pratyahara, this vitality that you receive from the forest clearing around you, not only strengthens you tonight after doing this breath, but will strengthen you every time you do this breath. And soon it will strengthen all your time, whether you're doing the breath, or you're at work, or you're at school, no matter what you're doing. This vitality this energy that you breathe in from the trees, the forest clearing, becomes a part of you and you a part of it. Now take one more wonderful breath, breathing in the smell of this forest clearing. Feel how temperate the air is around you, how crisp and fresh the air feels on your skin. And let yourself unfold, become once more aware of your surroundings. Become once more aware of the air around you. Do a nice stretch. Nice stretch, open, strong, grounded, filled with vitality. Let your eyes open. Shake it out. Shaking, 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 shaking. Shaking your hands, shaking your feet, shaking your legs, shaking your body. Feeling amazing from this breath. Feeling amazing feelings from this breath. Vowing to want to choose what you feel. Vowing to want emotional independence so that the feelings you have are the ones that you want rather than the ones that other people are feeding you or giving you or forcing you to have. How are we feeling? I'm not looking at anyone's comments until afterwards, and so I have no idea how you're feeling. After all of that breathing, I strangely have not recommended this before, but only because I feel like we've never done an exercise this intense before. I strongly suggest that you drink some water. I've often said you need to ground, eat a little food, have a little tea. This time I am very strongly suggesting that you go to that water cooler or that tap and just have some water now, because I'll bet you're going to really want it now. I have an announcement before we close things off. I only have a few more minutes of broadcast. Otherwise, I would just stay with you all night. We have an incredible interview next week in 7 days at 5 p.m. on Jess FM, Jess TV on Thursday, July the 29th. We are going to be interviewing, I am going to be interviewing this man, Kalsaji, who I don't even know where to begin, is a teacher, a promoter, and involved with Interreligious Council of Los Angeles. He's a very, very, very special guest. And I would like everybody to be in attendance who follows the show. It's at a strange time, 5 p.m. It's a little bit early, but it will be very much worth it. And so I would like to recommend to everybody that if you're going to catch owned breathing, you're going to want to catch this one because it's historical. So I hope to see you next Thursday. I will be distributing posters in all of our online networks, making sure that everybody knows what time we go on at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. So set your alarms, get a replacement at work, come home, and do not miss this interview next week in 7 days' time. All right. Well, thank you very much to everybody who joined in today. Again, we're coming to you live on Jess TV, Jess FM, and it's I believe the SSH 101 on the Roku dial. Look for Jess TV. You cannot miss it. It is an honor to be featured on this network. All right. Until next time, keep breathing.